Hi guys, Dave here from Wolf in the Wild Survival, and today the topic is bug out bags, but not my bug out bag, your bug out bag. I have had, I don't even know how many people always asking me about bug out bags. What bag should I get? What should I put in it? What should I do this way or that way? What should I include and exclude? Well, a bug out bag is a very personal thing. Everybody's bug out bag is generally going to be designed around their own skill set, their own needs, and what they want to accomplish. Now, that being said, the bag that you choose is also reflecting what exactly it is you have in there. Now, I could very easily get by for at least a couple of days with everything I have in here. Now, the very basics, some cordage, a cutting tool, a flashlight generally is a good idea, or, you know, some kind of headlamp or, you know, something or other, and something to start a fire. Now, it's all great for me to tell you, oh, well, you should have a ferro rod in your bug out bag. But if you don't know how to use a ferro rod, you're best with a pocket full of lighters. You really are. So, your skill set. Build your bug out bag around your skill set. So, that being said, you shouldn't necessarily ask, what should I put in my bug out bag? What you should be asking yourself is, what skills do I need to polish up on, just in case something happens? So first of all, there are different things to consider before choosing your gear. Now, like I said, I'm not going to get too far into that because that's a very personal thing. But you need to take stock of yourself. You need to realize what it is you know how to do and what it is you don't know how to do. There's no point in getting a ferro rod or an extensive first aid kit if you don't know how to light a fire with a ferro rod and you don't know anything about first aid. In that case, you might want to spend time learning how to light a fire with a ferro rod or first aid, and then putting that into practice whenever possible and developing that skill. Then maybe you could get that ferro rod, that first aid kit included into your bag, and it's not dead weight or a waste of space. Okay, so that's pretty much that. Also, in theory, you should buy all your gear before you buy your bug out bag. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean don't build your bug out bag until you have everything you need. You could start off with a regular old backpack and kind of, you know, work your way from there. And then, when you have your gear, when you have everything settled, go out and spend the money on the bag that you want. Don't spend a whole lot of money on the bug out bag until you have the gear that you're settled on. So start off with something relatively small, cheap, easy, just a regular old backpack, and you get everything that you're doing, and then you spend the money on the final purchase, the one that you're going to keep with you, the one that is going to be the be-all to end-all. Now, there's also a few other things to consider. Are you bugging out on foot, or do you have a conveyance? It's generally nice to have a plan and then a backup plan and then a plan C possibly as well. But your basic plan, do you have a conveyance, or are you on foot all the time? Most people would have some form of conveyance. And I think probably the majority would be a car, truck, SUV, something along that lines. However, you're not limited to those choices. Your conveyance could be a bicycle. It could be a dirt bike. It could be a four-wheeler. It could be an Argo. Okay, it could be your little red wagon. Doesn't matter. As a matter of fact, I don't care how silly it looks. I would much rather put this in a little red wagon and pull it behind me than to have this thing on my back all the time, especially if I'm walking long distances. Because this thing is about 40 pounds. So, and that is my camp pack, so if I were to bug out, I guess that would be my bug out bag. That would be my primary. Anyway, either way, so we started off, we got regular old backpack. Little organizer in the front. Good sized pocket with a secondary. Nothing super special. Doesn't have a, sternum strap, belt, like nothing. Doesn't have nothing. It's just a backpack. And that'll be fine for a while. While you're gathering up your gear, keep it in one place. So that'll work. But beyond that, your options start to open up a little bit. You could, theoretically, put something in the trunk of your car, back of your SUV, something along that lines, like this. This is an old cigarette box. Cartons of cigarettes come in these, and they lock on either side. You can get a couple of padlocks and lock that up for extra security in the back of your vehicle. And you could keep your bug out, kind of whatever, and you could fit an awful lot into these things if you're good at Tetris. All right? You want to learn how to pack a box, a bug out bag, a truck, a moving van, play Tetris. Okay. So that's an option for vehicle bugging out. Not something necessarily that you're going to want to park the vehicle and walk very far with, though. So you might want to put one of those. They're like backpacks that they pack down small, but they unfold and it's a backpack. I don't have one of those in here yet, but I will. Now, another option, ammo case. An ammo case or two. Now, unfortunately, this one's a little bit small, and some idiot went and painted it red before I got to it. But I got a dirt sheet, so I'm going to take all the red paint off and re-OD green it. But this, more or less, would be the same basic thing as this. This fits on my hip. This, you obviously just carry. These do come in bigger sizes for those of you that don't know. Either way, one or two of these, throw them in your car, and you're gold. Now, I've said on my channel probably 100 times, the more you know, the less you need. This is an example of that mentality. I have the basics in here. Now, I don't have the water bottle that's normally on the side here, and the life straw that I normally keep on it isn't there as well. I have to replace it. I need a new one. So, but if you will imagine, if you've seen my video about this bag before, there is a water bottle and there is a life straw, and everything I need is right here. I could set up a camp right here, and I could spend a couple of days. There's wild ginseng growing here. There's false Solomon seal, and I'm sure there's other edibles, even though this is early October and there's not really a lot available like normal, you know, through late spring and through the summer. So there you go. Now, another good option is sort of like a paramilitary or quasi-military type pack. This is a backpack that I got at Walmart. It's by SOG. It's got MOLLE webbing all over it. So I put like a Maxpedition pouch onto the front of it. And a knife on the side. Now, beyond that, I haven't done that much with it because, actually, you know what? I'm not going to tell you why. I'm gonna try to save that for later as, I don't know, a surprise. But it's got a sternum strap. It doesn't have a belt, but it's got a sternum strap, and it's a very, very rugged backpack. It's got a spot for a water bladder, I guess. So that's a very, very good option. You're not really going to have a whole lot in here, but you can put enough for like a 3-day pack, or, you know, somebody who's specifically skilled at wilderness survival could use this as a bug out bag. Now, another decent option, especially for a vehicle, is a good sized duffel bag. This is my vehicle get home bag. I've got a video on it, but it was in a different bag. It was in a backpack that I got. That pack was garbage, so I ended up throwing it out, and I couldn't even give it away. It was literally that bad. I ended up throwing it out, and I got a nice rugged duffel bag for the back of my SUV, and I have utilized pretty much as much space as I possibly can. It is, it's nice, it's perfect, there's nothing wrong with it at all. Now on to a relatively new thing for me. It's not new, it's new to me. A tactical load-bearing vest. This thing literally carries everything I need for a 1 to 3 day camp, and it is just so nice to hike in. All the weight isn't on my back. It's evenly distributed, and it's perfect for all of my ultralight stuff. It doesn't have loads of storage, but it has enough if you use ultralight. I think it's awesome. I really enjoyed using that. This year was the first year that I've done that. But I had a good time. As for how it would be as a bug out bag, kind of similar to something like this. That vest could work as a bug out bag if you have the skill set for wilderness survival. Jeez, you know, there's like CN and CP railroad tracks sort of, you know, around the area, and you know how the train whistles carry it. There's two of them. There's one over here and one over here, and they're both going. Just crazy. Always when I want to shoot a video. Okay. On to the more military, traditional bug out bags. Generally, everybody goes military. And I have two, basically. I have a smaller military pack. I don't really know that much about it. I only recently acquired it, not super long ago, earlier this year. I've literally done no research on it. I haven't really looked it up or anything like that. I don't know how many cubic inches or liters or whatever it is or nothing. All I know is that it was bought from an Army surplus store some time ago, and then I acquired it. But it's rugged, it's certainly big enough, it's quite handy, and it's got some molly webbing around it, which I have attached like a Maxpedition type thing to the front of it, solely just to keep some of the easier access things that I'm going to need up front. You know, a lighter, some basic first aid, ferro rod, you know, things like that. I don't want to dig way down deep into the pack for stuff like that. So everything pretty much goes in here, and some of the quick grab items can go there. It's perfectly fine. It's a good pack. And we have my camp pack. Okay. Took a bit of a pause, let the trains go by. It got quite loud. I guess I'm closer to the tracks than I thought I was. So hopefully it'll be a little nicer. So we were talking about military bags, and I was getting onto this one here. This is probably as big as you'd want to go, I would imagine. But I can certainly carry this a good distance. I know I can. I've done it. Although it is quite heavy. And it is very well set up. Very well set up, in my opinion, for my skill set. And every time I go through a calamity, I learn from it and I update my bag. For instance, some of you might have watched a camp trip that I did around the 1st of August, and I crashed my canoe going over a waterfall and wedged it under a log, and everything got wet, just soaked. Totally waterlogged. Now, the vast majority of my stuff are in dry bags. Whereas before, the only thing that was in dry bags was my rain gear and a spare set of clothes. And maybe a few other things, but a lot of stuff that should have been wasn't. So I did learn from that. And now I can weather out the worst rainstorm, basically. So there's something you might want to think about. When I said I'm not really going to, tell you what to put in your bug out bag, dry bags. That's one thing that I will tell you. Try to get dry bags and put everything into dry bags, and then put it into whatever pack you're using. Because it helps keep your whole system modular as well. So that's pretty handy. And last, but not necessarily least, maybe least, I don't know, but not necessarily, we have one of these. It's your lightweight backpacking, like the kind of thing I guess like the millennials would buy, kind of idea. I don't really know all that much about these things because I've never owned one. This isn't mine. I had to borrow this just for this video. But it's very lightweight. You could put a lot of stuff into here. Now, this thing empty weighs a whole lot less than this thing empty. That it definitely does have on it. But I have beaten the hell out of this thing. The GI that had it before I did dragged it all over the desert, all over foreign countries, and they beat the hell out of this thing. This thing has been put through absolute torture, and it scoffs, it laughs it off. Is that all you got? Give me more. This thing will last me the rest of my life, and probably one of my kids will use it afterwards, and it'll last, you know, maybe not forever, but close. It's going to be a good long time before that needs to be replaced. This, on the other hand, I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it would be all that rugged. You know, flimsy zippers and sort of thin, flimsy material. This would not stand up to the things that I've put that through. So, not good for me, possibly good for somebody. I don't know. But there is that option. And these things are easy to find and they're plentiful. They're not necessarily cheap, but you can go into just about any outdoors type store and find these. Something like this here, you got to look for those generally. So yeah, that's bug out bags in a pinch. Basically, you have so many different options to choose from, and it really all depends on your skill set. So like I said before, one should not necessarily ask, what should I put in my bug out bag? One should ask, what skills do I need to work on so that when I build a bug out bag, I can do it as complete as possible to ensure my own, not necessarily just survival, but my own comfort in a bad situation. So yeah, that's pretty much that. That's all I can think of right off the top of my head. So yeah, you know what? Can't think of anything else to say right now, but if you can think of something to say, put it in the comments. Start a discussion. This video is about your bug out bag, not mine. So, you know, let's get a dialogue going, and we'll finish this video in the discussions. So, have a good one, guys, and we'll see you in the next video.